Hey everybody, I am Tommy. What's happening? You are on the lifeboat. Lisa Miller, good to see you. Barbara Aldrich, how are you? Just Joan, good to see you. Krista Melinda, Annabelle Black Boots, doing all right? Good to see you. I think I saw Lisa Trimble in there. Good. If you saw the thumbnail, today is going to be an interesting show. I'm very curious to see. As I start to do this, it's going to be interesting for me to see how you guys react to this. For some of you, hey, good to see you. Ms. Rose, Lisa Ayers, how are you? Hey, Kevin Hawthorne, Lakeland, Florida. What's happening, my brother? There's Chase the Heat. That would be the Johnny Scoville, or the artist formerly known as Johnny Scoville, as I like to call him. Carolina, Canada, what's happening? This, for some people, is going to be old hat. For some people, they will have endured this. This was kind of a fascinating study for me, and I'm kind of curious to see, hello, Cindy, how it's going to, how all of you are going to react to it as well. Maybe it's unique to me and people like me, but what I will tell you is that. Watching this and having an opportunity to be a voyeur and look into the private lives of people who I don't really know. I mean, I know who they are, right? But I don't know these people. And this is, of course, this will bum everybody out. But of course, I'm talking about the Karen Read trial. There was some fascinating stuff today in the Karen Read trial. And in the first case, you may remember the defense using some excerpts between Brian Higgins, and that's the ATF officer, and Karen Read. Now, I'm not going to judge Karen Read. Karen Read was in a relationship that was on the rocks, right? I mean, I'm sorry that John O'Keefe died. If he didn't, they wouldn't be together anyway. They were on the rocks. We've heard her curse at him at the top of his lungs. Now, I mean, her lungs, rather. Now, he had disappeared and she thought he was inside with a woman, but it was ugly, right? It's not fun to listen to that. You feel watching today, the defense did something really unique and very, very different. What the defense did this time around was they used a different trooper Buchanan, and they had him read the text messages that had been sent between Higgins and Read. To be Karen Read sitting in that courtroom with the entire world listening to a back and forth between her and a paramour, right? This was a person that, well, I'm going to let you listen to it, right? I'm going to let you listen to it. But this is, we're going to be putting up the chat on the screen. And I want you to be honest with me. I want you to get in the chat. And as we listen to Officer Buchanan, keep in mind, he's not one of the people in this. One of the reasons that he can read this with the cold affect that he doesn't seem to give a crap about anything he's saying is because, quite simply put, he doesn't give a crap about anything he's saying, right? This isn't him. This is some federal agent, right? And Karen Read. And I think it's an interesting ploy by the defense, but I'm going to be interested to see how all of you feel when we're able to look in on this. In reading messages that I promise you, when they fired back and forth to each other, they had no idea that the world, and I do mean the world, would be talking about the things that they had texted back and forth to each other. It's a terrible embarrassment for all parties involved. I mean, as far as it goes, I think this is about as bad as it could get. What have I dropped something? That's okay. All right, Spanky. It's my manager, you know. That's my agent. That's my guy. That's the only smart dude in the room. Here's my son. Spanky, if you can cue that up. We're going to be starting out listening to Auntie Bev give a little bit of instruction on this, and it's going to give you a little bit of context. Now, if you haven't followed this trial, it's not going to matter. You're going to want to stick around and watch this because this is a case study that has very little to do with this trial. Calhouni, if you could.
Easier for everybody to either read or listen to or look at. So we're just going to take a minute. We think that we have this document here. And also to make it a little bit easier for everybody, Sergeant Buchanan, you do not have to describe the emojis. You don't have to say anything about what the pictures are, and you don't have to say the punctuation now that we'll be able to have it. But you are being asked to read which text is from whom. Maybe if we agree upon the color, you won't have to say that. Can there be an agreement with that, counsel?
We can do that.
She actually looks pleasant when she smiles.
And the gray. Okay.
Hello, Clifton. Hello, Megan.
All right. I appreciate
Roberta.
that. So you can just read the screen or read what you have in front of you.
Do you want me to start at the beginning or?
No. Let's just go. Let's just start where, I'm sorry, start where you ended, if you could, please.
This
All
would
right,
have
can we
taken
turn
an
the lights
hour
on?
if they
Can you
started at the
see
beginning.
Sergeant with the lights off?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you.
I just don't give my personal number to anyone. How would Carrie have my number? Melissa had it. I actually don't know if Carrie does. Felt like everyone had it.
So the gray is Karen Reed, and the blue is going to be Brian Higgins. And it's funny because she says, I don't give my number out to anybody, right? She wants a little privacy. Didn't work out, did it?
Haha. I knew she did. Sorry you felt neglected. Haha. So no dice on the Smirnoff? I have not tried it. Saw it in the store the other day and thought of you. I laughed out loud. Don't give Carrie my digits. Thought of me and everyone's grandfather. I won't give your digits to anyone. You don't like Carrie? I have no issues with Carrie. Just don't want her having my jack. Saving you as Karen, screwdriver, or weed whacker. Need to think about it a little. I'd prefer weed whacker. That's to think about nicknames. We were tossing around the idea of a short vacay with the current show. Wanted to see if you were game. You don't have a say? Vacation? Where? I know. They need to happen organically. I'm the queen of nicknames.
Can you notice how this is two different conversations that are going on at the same time? And again, when you see somebody's text message, this is how we text, right? They're firing back, and it's like so there are two conversations going on here. Obviously, one is about him giving her a nickname. I don't know the reference of weed whacker. You can use your imagination on that. Maybe the woman's fond of cannabis. I don't know. But screwdriver definitely is a reference to the fact that this woman is fond of throwing back some booze. And I'm not judging her for that at all, right? I mean, I don't care one way or the other. But this is a case that pivots on a very drunk woman. Sorry, it's the truth. If Karen Reed were sober or even remotely sober, if she had a memory of what had happened the night before, but the truth is the day that the body was found on that lawn, Karen Reed couldn't tell whether or not she had hit him. She was so shaffazed the night before that she literally can't figure it out. So she's having a conversation where he's saying to her, you don't get to pick your nickname. That's the thing about him. And somewhere in the middle of that, she starts spouting off about going on a vacation. So it gets a little weird for a minute, but stick with it. Calhounis, thank you.
Something quick and easy. I'm queen of vacays too. Always a good time. I'm going to Nashville next month, 19th through the 21st, for a benefit. One of our guys got shot in the head. You guys should come. So you claim. Advertisement. Jesus, is he alive? Was he from Massachusetts? Yes, he is alive, not from MA. We were thinking late March. I guess a guy in his group is friends with Old Dominion Band. Kid Rock's supposed to be there too. I have a tough time with country. I was a Kid Rock fan back in the day.
Of course you were.
Of course you were. From Brockton. LOL. That's how I got my street cred. Funny. I didn't know you had any. LOL. Carrie said you tag along. No one would say that about me. How would I know? We all frequent the same watering hole. I don't know Carrie well. She talks about herself a lot, but I guess so does everyone.
Tough sentence there. You know what I mean? Although if you didn't write it, sometimes the structure on that might be a little difficult. You can see where that would come up.
I don't ask questions, just make observations, assess, and decide. I am quiet. That's a good policy. You can read most people in a few minutes. Excuse me, mins. Yep, for sure. You go out with last night? Myself. I only had a drink and a half. Sadly, I know everyone at this point. Lame. Why is that bad? BC. That's how much I go in there. What do you do for work? I've never had a problem going to bar/restaurant solo. I go there a little. I'm a college professor.
Calhoun, if you could pause this for 1 second. One of the things that I don't know if you guys are picking up on this, but you will see it as this goes on more and more. He's just not picking up the signals that Karen Reed is throwing at him. You know what I mean? Like she's definitely making overt gestures, and I don't know whether this guy's drunk, doesn't dig her, or whatever it is in the beginning, but he's not picking it up. About the time he starts to, this gets just horrible. Not anything. It's not foul. It's not dirty. It's a guy and a woman who are trying to pick up on one another, and to have that read for the entire world is just an ugly thing. Thanks, Calvin.
I was in a junk previously. Oh, really? Did you mention that? Anna Maria, Quincy College, and BHCC. I teach afternoons and work downtown during the day. What is BHCC? University of Southern Charleston, a.k.a. Bunker Hill Community College. Oh, nice. Trust is life. Line from Good Will Hunting in the classroom at BHCC. Funny. A savant from Brockton. I'm not making fun of BHCC. My parents met at community college. Fall River writes, you're very random. How so? You just are. I don't think so. What's random? Haha. I had no idea who this was last night, for a few minutes anyways. I mean, what's random about me? I think I'm pretty predictable. How so? You must go around beeping at a lot of weed whackers, excuse me. Nope, never. It was my one-time thing. Sounds like I'm scattered and all over the place. I learned my lesson. You have your shit together. That was mortifying. I am still really sorry. Not completely, but for the most part, yes. Sure you are. One thing I don't think you was sensitive. When was I sensitive? To the weed whacking incident. I just snapped when I think guys are being creeps. Can't help it. I'm not a creep. No, you're not a creep. Nope. You're kind of a loner, which I used to be. Not really. I have a ton of buddies, but I only let a handful of friends in that I am tight with. So you think you got me figured out? Circle of trust. Yeah, I said loner, not loser. I assume you know a lot of people? You never really can figure anyone out completely. Your dad died when you were young? He died in March of 2020. I am so not a loser. You won't figure me out, LOL. No one is a loser. I just didn't mean loner to imply friendless. I'm sorry, that's recent. It wasn't COVID, was it? Cancer. I know you date girls who don't lock the house behind them, and you arrive private and observant. I'm sorry. What kind? Lung, brain, kidney, and pelvis. How do you know all these things? LOL. You're funny. Yikes, wow. That's rough. Jesus. I'm sorry. We chat a lot at the hillside. Don't be sorry. Life is hard sometimes. I always figure it out. Who chats? Life is hard, but losing people is the hardest. So I'm sorry. We chat. That all you got WeChat? Sure, you're from Brockton. Spit it out. You and I chatted about the girl who kept forgetting the door lock. Oh, she has been out of play for like 3 months now. Out of rotation? Nah, just out of play. I am solo, no rotation. I am not a hoe. Solo? Solo, like no rotation, or woman for that matter. Not locked down. Haha. Good for you. That's the best way to be. Yep. Has its benefits for sure. Are you working? Remotely. Oh, tough life. Live like a queen. I just got a Saturday invite. Did you say yes? Not yet, but did respond. What did you say, Mr. Elusive? No, I just don't want to intrude on your couple's night.
There we go.
I am shy. We prefer to hang out with or non-couples. Bob Gallery is probably coming too, solo. We'll probably do cards or something at some point. Some PT, excuse me. I'm inviting you. Haha. John said, quote, Brian is being wishy-washy now, end quote. Haha. Did you tell him to text me? No. You cranky now? Haha, no. Just stop being so anti-couples. Most couples don't even like each other. Name a few. Name a few? I don't know. All of them? They all want to hang out with single people? I need a drink. I had a blueberry beer. I'm jealous. Hey, I'm trying to menu plan for Saturday, Mr. Elusive. Don't count on me. Boo. Haha. I am sure you will get over it. Just got my first drink. Where? Brick House. You tied one on last night? I was just thinking about you. Haha.
I think they tie one on a lot.
4:30 a.m. came early this morning. Eek, that's early. You out late with the Commodores? Solo? Yeah, but you're always lining up your after party. Nope, not me. Selective. I am not a hoe. Hey, no judgment. Haha, you make me laugh. I know, I'm funny. Haha. What's on your mind? Nada. Just about to start cooking. Okay. What's on yours? I'm going to a Hillside Regulars 60th tomorrow. This could be a new low for me. Who?
Detective, if I could interrupt 1 second. When there is a date that's delineated, could you just state the date out loud so the jurors follow the date progression?
Next.
Starting with the next one.
When you're burying,
text message date or
Yes, sir.
date within.
Where the
you're attending friends' parties from the bar you hang out at.
Here,
She's a drinker.
is Friday, January 13th at 3:33 p.m.
Thank you.
I believe I stopped before Bob Clinton. Everybody can't stand him. I detest him. His breath smells like ass. OMG, always. His daughter
How'd
and
you
I
like
have
to be
mutual
Bob
friends.
Clinton?
I actually don't mind him when he's socially distant. I think he's friendly. Why detest? Yeesh. Talks like an ass clown. Maybe I am being too hard. He just says crazy shit. Doesn't know his audience. Geez. Is he different from anyone else in there? Haha. His wife and daughter are cooler than he is. I like his wife. Never met the daughter. A nurse? Yes. Her fiance is a firefighter. By coincidence with people I grew up with. Crazy. Sunday, January 16th, 12:59 a.m. You're nuts. Foul ball. You stink. You suck. And you're double. Trouble. You're hot. Are you serious or messing with me? No, I'm serious. Feeling is mutual. Is that bad? How long have you thought that? Are you okay driving? You don't want to stay here? I am fine. I have an office at the PD.
She's trying to
You
get you to the
answer the
house,
question.
genius.
Rather you stay here? I wish. I think you're messing with me. Why do you think that? Because this is so out of left field. Where did these feelings come from? I just think you're like me. Meaning, do you have your own kids? I have no kids. How am I like you? Hello? Aren't we alike? I think so. So why did you get my number and reach out to me? Shoot straight with me. I told you, I just think we're alike, right? Yes, agree. Now what? I don't know. Shouldn't you know? Do you like me? Yes, from jump. When was jump? First time I saw you. When was that? Hillside for sure. When were you interested? I don't know. You're just my type. You think you can handle me? I thought you were happy. How do you know if I'm happy? I just assumed. Are you to handle? What do you like about me? I just feel like you're from my neighborhood. Yeah, ditto. And I think you're hot. You really think that? I have always thought that about you. What? That you're hot, smart, witty. But I didn't think you were interested. Witty. Yeah, meaning quick with a response. Tell me why you got my number and reached out to me. Just thought we were the same, from the same neighborhood. Are you afraid to say what's in your mind? On? No. Didn't I? I am glad I stopped by. I should have come earlier. Do you really live in Mansfield? Yeah, I was basically begging you. You don't have to beg me. Beg. Huh? I will give you whatever you want. How are you texting right now? Ugh. Leaving me hanging. No. Kids? Kinda. How am I texting? Is everyone asleep? I'm just wide awake on my phone. Yes, they are. I should have stayed, LOL. So now what? Yes, you should have. That would have been distracting. So no what? Now. Now what? Ball's in your court. What do you want? Loaded question. What do you want? I asked you. Nope. You initiated this. Spit it out. Hey, we're single
awful.
and we don't have kids. We can do whatever we want. Don't you have a boyfriend? Where are you? Canton. Where? My office at the PD. Why are you going to Mansfield? Where is that? Canton PD. I have a house there from before I reconnected with John. Oh, I feel like you're not really saying what's on your mind.
I feel like you can't read women.
Do you like me? Yes, clearly. Come over to my house. When? When works for you? Whoever, whenever. When works for you? I asked you first. I think you're messing with me. I'm glad you came over tonight. Me too. Ball's in your court. What do you want, Karen? You look great tonight. I don't know. What do you want?
Oh, it's painful.
You always do. Yeesh, really? Why? I look great? You're full of it. I think you're hot. I always have thought that. Just have not revealed my thoughts. I'm hot for the hillside. Low comps. Knock it off. You're hot, period. Are you glad you walked me out? Yes. Are you deaf? Yes. Are you going home tonight or tomorrow a.m.? We kissed, right? Is this a trick question?
Listen,
I don't know when I'm
pause
going
for a
home.
second.
I am selling my house.
This I think is the most fascinating part of this. A lot of this is just voyeurism. A lot of this is stuff that, I mean, honestly, it's, for me, it's hellacious to listen to. It's so freaking awful to be a part of this. However, this is essential, right? Because this guy, this is how the story allegedly goes. He went and saw her, right? They didn't spend the night or anything else, but there was a kiss. And it was, by all accounts, according to this ATF guy, a fairly passionate thing. There was a kiss. It looked like it was moving places. And she's got to legitimately ask the question, did we kiss last night? This should tell you a little bit about Karen Reed. And I'm not bummed out at Karen Reed. I don't think she killed her boyfriend at all. But the reason that we're here is because if she had been sober, there would not have been a doubt in her mind that she didn't kill her boyfriend. It would have been a much different case. I think they saw a woman who they knew was blacked out and they decided to push this on her. I think she was the perfect patsy, or they thought she was, until the cat got out of the bag about what might have happened inside that house, right? You know, maybe she's shameless. I mean, I guess there's probably something to that, right? She's got a boyfriend. He's asleep. The kids are asleep and she's texting. It's at the end of a relationship. And I'll be really honest with you. I'm not going to judge her for that. You know, she and John weren't married. And I think a lot of the time that they spent together was during COVID. I think that probably has an effect. But neither here nor there, to listen to two people who, I don't know, neither of them seem to be particularly, I don't know. Maybe none of us are good at spitting game. Maybe we think we are, because the world doesn't listen to the stuff that we say to get somebody to like us or get in bed with us, right? Maybe we just think we're cool because the world never hears your pickup lines or your interactions. But this is just ugly. Spanx Calhoun says, I would give much for the truth. I'll tell you something. To me, I'm pretty convinced about the truth in this. I mean, I'm pretty confident. One of the things that you're gonna hear coming up soon is that as these police officers built their case, they would do a question and answer. Like, I'd be interrogating Spanx Calhoun and I'm asking him questions and I'm taking notes. Standard practice, intelligent practice for anything that you're taking notes on is, if you're going to write a report using the notes, or you're going to, transfix this to something else, you want to do it as fast as possible to when you took the notes, because notes are, by definition, shorthand of sorts, right? We're not writing down the entire thing. We're writing down enough so that we can remember the entire thing. There are reports in this case that they waited literally 300 days to write. From the day they did the interview and took all the notes, 300 days later, right? Almost a year later, they then sat down to write the report. I don't remember what the hell they did, but you see, they thought this was just a frame job. This is a walk in the park. If you look at what happened in the Waterfall bar as everyone was leaving, all of these jackasses were fake fighting, slapping each other. Just the way they're going out the door was aggression. The way they're waving everybody. It just looked like a bunch of drunk college dudes that, it reminded me of freshman year in college, and you knew someone was going to get in a fight. Well, unfortunately, I think they went back to the house and they did get in a fight. And I think that one of the reasons they got in a fight is this friggin' exchange. Do you understand? This guy digs Karen Reed. Karen Reed comes into the Waterfall bar with her boyfriend, and this big fat dude from the ATF, right, in his hooded sweatshirt, he's in there doing shots, acting the fool, has been drinking all day long, right? We heard that on the stand in the first case. But now he's in there and he's watching the girl that he's got the hots for from jump, right? He's had the hots for her from jump. Those were his words. First time he saw her in the hillside, decided that this was somebody that he liked, right? Thought she was hot, thought she was witty, right? Successful, intelligent. Yeah. However, I think this is these text messages that you're seeing in blue belong to the man that very well may have been, if he was not the gentleman that did this. He sure as hell was one of the gentlemen that did this. All right, Spanky, if you could finish this up. This isn't fun to
What
me.
a trick question. Are you moving to Canton? I am following your lead with this. I live here, but I have a property in Enfield. Why my lead? I don't want any responsibility. You started this, right? Why did you get my number and each out of me and each out to me? Still have not told me. Sorry, should I not have? I am fine with it. Just don't know why you can't answer. You're mad at me? OMG. No, not at all. You're being silly. I told you. I just think you're like me, and I am attracted to you a lot. Feelings mutual. I just never saw this coming. Why? Because I just assumed you were happy with your situation. I was, but things have deteriorated. Why? How so? What did Melissa say when you asked for my number? It is very, very complicated. He and I dated when we were kids, and then his sister died, and everything got fucked up. He seemed very into you. I just told Melissa that I had your number, but lost it. That's cute. She wasn't suspicious? No, she's great. Does she know you like me? She's a sweetie. We just agreed that you're great. What does that mean? I was jealous that she had your number. Look, like you're either all in or you're out. Why would you be jealous? I am not attracted to her at all. I have always been attracted to you. Really? Yes. Since the first time I saw you, we would have fun. Where are you? I told you, Canton PD, my office. So are you selling your place and moving to Meadows? Yeah, but where is that? I have had all my shit here for a couple of years, and my house has been vacant. But I'd like to get closer to the water.
Me too.
Are you breaking up or staying together? I don't know. He hooked up with another girl on vacation. I am very close to his niece. It is a very fucked up situation. When was that? And how did you find out he hooked up? I don't want to complicate your situation. We went away for New Year's, the four of us. I put the kids to bed and found him in the lobby of our hotel, all over one of our friends. Whatever. It doesn't matter.
Wow.
It does matter.
Honestly, no one wants to.
And again, this isn't fun, right? There's something disgusting about people pulling back the curtain on someone's life and allowing you to glance in at it. Maybe it doesn't bum you out the way that it does me, but it's unpleasant. The reason that this stuff is important, though, is because nuance gets lost in a lot of this stuff. If you've been following this conversation, Karen Reed has asked the same question about 6 or 7 times. She's not tracking as well as she should be. I think this is a woman that drinks a lot, right? She keeps being shocked. And women like to be told that that they're attractive, right? Guys like to be told they're good looking. That's it. But she's either fishing for the exact same compliment over and over again, or she doesn't remember. And this is also a woman who about 30 texts back had to say, did we kiss? I think that alcohol was a real problem in Karen's life, sadly. I don't know how it is now. I'd like to believe that maybe she's getting better on that. But in the very beginning, when she first started talking, and she would say it wasn't a big deal. I had 12, 14 drinks, something like that. To the rest of the world, if you say I had 14 drinks, I mean, I'm a big dude. I'd be shit-faced on 14 drinks, right? I mean, I'd be stumbling around on 14 drinks. But this is such a part of the culture, right? When we see them in the Waterfall Bar and they're doing the grab ass thing, one of the guys that they're doing it with has got to be pushing 60. But this is cultural. These are guys, and God bless them, but these are guys that when they go to work, they put a gun on their hip, right? They strap on a bulletproof vest. And they're trained first responders so that they work on people who are dying. All of these crazy things that, not for nothing, kicks on your adrenaline, keeps that vagus nerve fully engaged at all times. And I think very often guys like that, when they unwind, They didn't want to call it play fighting. You really got to see the video. They square off. I mean, it's, I know you don't want to, when you're on the stand, you never want to concede, but it is so obviously play fighting. It's incredible. And the grab ass never stops until they walk out the door. So it's not much of a suspension of disbelief to go, well, maybe 10 minutes later, when they all got into the basement, that crap started again. And maybe when Karen Reed's guy comes walking in, now it's not just Karen Reed's guy, right? It's some guy that cheated on her in the lobby with one of her best friends. Words mean things. I don't doubt that what she's saying is the truth, right? But you tell a guy that, we have, there's something built inside of every guy to some level where they very much want to come to the rescue of people, right? I'm Scottish and about Karen's size, and I can't count beyond 5 drinks. I love that, man. I love that. Lindy says, is this guy stupid? Absolutely, Lindy. Absolutely. Yeah, there's no two ways about it. Brian Higgins is not the brightest guy in the entire facility. And we're going to see later on, my back's getting a little better, and I'm really hoping that next week I'll be able to actually cover the entire trial. That would be really awesome. I would love to be able to do it. And I am getting better, right? That doesn't make him a bad person. To be sure, it doesn't. He's got some honesty issues that really came up in the first trial. For instance, he decided to throw out his cell phones. But first he was going to destroy them, smack them with hammers, do all that stuff. And then he threw them out on a military base. Now, I used to be in the military, right? But you throw something out on a military base because a cop can't drive onto a military base, right? It's one of the few places on earth where cops don't show up at the gate and go, hey, I'm a police officer. They go, hey, I don't give a crap. Right? You're not coming on here. We have our own police officers. If you want to tell us about something, we'll send a military police, an MP, and he can do the work for you. You wouldn't even have to come in here. But he destroyed those phones, and he did it in such a way and in such a place where he could get away with it. There's no reason to do that if you're innocent. It's plain and simple. There's a lot that went on in that house. I can't tell you what it is, but I can point to 800 ways that this cover-up is easy to identify. Really, really easy to identify. Yeah, funky laws, to be sure, but ones that if you work for alcohol, tobacco, and firearms, right, and you have been a cop, you have been a firefighter, I believe he said at one time in his life, and then he moved from state to federal. This is a guy that knows the law, right? He definitely knows his way around the law, and he intentionally was able to get rid of evidence that, you know what, we're deprived of. We're never going to know, ever. But I think that in the rest, first of all, I don't know if you've been following this closely, but the Officer Buchanan is going to win this case for Karen Reed before he steps away from the stand. It's plain and simple. He's burying the prosecution, just absolutely burying them. This is a tough thing. It's always really rugged when you got to try a case twice, because the prosecution is going to lay out their entire case, and you're going to see it. Now, I mean, granted, the defense does the same thing, but there is a paradigm shift from the first to the second defense. The prosecution is going to come out and not make a ton of changes because their theory can't change. This time around, the defense isn't going to give you a theory. They don't need to. They're just going to poke enough holes in this that you're going to look and go, man, these cops are dirty, right? There's no other explanation. What these cops did, there's never been a cop in the world that doesn't take a piece of evidence, put it in a bag, write the time, the date, and if I take it from here to the car, I'm going to write, I put it in the car at 11:35, whatever. I'm going to drive it to the police station. If I stop on the way at 7-Eleven, I got to stop. I got to write that I stopped on the way at 7-Eleven. Anything that happens with this evidence has to have a chain of custody so that we can prove nobody messed with it. There was evidence that nobody knew where it was for over a year. There's no way you can prove this case. Karen Reed walks. And I don't know what happened. Nobody here does. But I can tell you this. It's pretty messed up. It's a pretty ugly case. And just the logic stuff, right? Real simple, and then we'll get back and finish this up. Thanks for your patience with me, Calhoun. But just really simple stuff. For instance, let's just say it's your sister's front yard, right? And you and a friend are out looking for somebody that disappeared the night before. You show up, and he's laying dead on the front yard of your sister's house. Are you going to worry about your sister? Nobody knows how this dude died. Are you going to be worried that your sister inside, no lights have come on? There's cops outside with lights going around. There's people screaming at the top of their lungs, and nobody inside wakes. Would you panic? I would. Why is my sister not awake? If this were me, I'd be outside. I'd freak out. I'd come out to know what the hell's going on. Maybe they're dead. That was never a thought for her, ever. Nothing to worry about. She also, when the time came to go into the house, sprinted upstairs as fast as she can. No dog. Right? There was no dog. They had to get rid of the dog the night before. Right? They decided to give away the dog the night that this dude gets unalived. None of this makes sense. It all stinks way too much. Thank you, Spanx Calhoun, for your patience with me. Appreciate you. But if you want to get that running back up, this should be over here pretty quick.
Did they bang? Does that matter? Sorry, I was just asking. I was just trying to figure shit out. It doesn't really matter. Okay. I won't ask again. I don't care. It doesn't matter. Okay. Hear you loud and clear, Karen. Oh, okay. Why are you getting your thing all twisted up over simple questions, Dong? I am not, am I? You're kind of getting defensive. Not at all. What is the question? Do you feel guilty texting me? No. Okay. What do you want from me? Nothing. Do you want anything from me? I would hang out. Oh, gee, thanks. OMG. What am I supposed to say? You're being tough on me. None of us is married. True. So game on? We can say whatever we want. Game on? You sent mixed messages. I wish I stayed. Okay, game on then. Kinda. Can you hang? Sure. I hope you toss and turn tonight. I always do. Why? Why'd you say that? I just do. Why? Because you're fresh. No, I'm not. Okay. Do you always get what you want? Be sweet to me, please. I could be so sweet. I've been very sick. I had colon cancer and 10 surgeries in 18 months. I'm a wreck. I had no idea. Are you okay now? I never get what I want, just what I need. I am okay. What do you need? What need to be content? What can I do to make you happy? Haha, don't worry. I've always been very happy. You talk in riddles. Just tell me why you contacted me, huh? What's the big deal? I told you. Just think you're like me. What does that mean? Like you want to hang with me? You asked why I contacted you. Yes. Excuse me. Yeah, I did ask. We are attracted to each other, right? Reasonable question. Yes, 100%. Okay.
Hey everybody, it's Tony Robbins. And
You know what? It's just ugly watching people go through that. Honestly, it's downright embarrassing, and I'm not trying to bag on the guy for game or anything else, but just watching people do this. Like, I don't understand that he hasn't seen the signals that this girl has been pumping across. I guess what he wants her to say is, I would like you to come over and have sex, right? Like if she literally doesn't spit it out like that, this cat's not getting the signals. It's pretty depressing, honestly. Sorry, Spanky.
We did kiss earlier. No? I think you initiated that. No? Yep. Do I owe you an apology? OMG. No. Why are you being sensitive? I am not. Kinda. No. Excuse me. Never. What do you want from me? What's on the table? What do you want ideally? The real deal. Sunday, January 16th, 7:37 a.m. Doesn't exist. Haha. Sunday, January 16th, 5:53 p.m. So you like Hennessy XO? Sunday, January 16th, 7:15 p.m. I am hurting so bad. Yeah, me too. The Currens went after it again at noon today. No way. This was about 2 hours before you came over. Haha. I am heading for drinks soon. Really? Yeah. Tuesday, January 18th, 5:09 p.m. What's on tap? Haha. What does that mean? Usually means, what are you up to? Cute. I just wrapped work. Unpacking some groceries. You? What's on tap? Also unpacking crap from my car. Anything good? Nothing on tap. Shame. You were ghost yesterday. I can't be the cruise director every day. Shame. Julie McCoy.
Good reference.
Wish I was at my cave house in front of the fire sipping a drink. Wish I knew how to use my fireplace. From Love Boat. How old is your bad self? Haha, that was my guess. 42 next month. I know the Love Boat. I was more Brady Bunch. Haha, what day? 226. Nice. You're just a tad poke. Pole. Got ya. When is the next party? Pole. Oops. It's all relative. What pole and poke? I'd have a party every weekend if it were up to me. No. 42 equals Tedpole. Oh. I keep reminding myself that aging is a privilege. The better parties are at my house. No kids. Why are they better? Well, first, BC, there's no kids. You were ghost yesterday. Thought I heard the last of you. Phones work both ways. I don't want to disturb you, or you could be otherwise engaged. I don't know your routine. I didn't use the word engaged, did I? Huh? Engaged? As like doing something with someone? Yes, that's what I thought you meant. Are you being fresh today? No. Now that you sobered up. Haha. I felt sober next to everyone else on Saturday. Good point. You're still trouble. Haha. Why am I? Just playing with you. What is that? Whiskey with a big ice cube. What kind of whiskey? Jameson, right? Cherry in middle. What good does that do? Are you in W Rocks? So good, yeah. Do you have a 4:30 a.m. bell tomorrow? Why do you ask? Trying to figure out how many whiskeys you're going to have? Depends. I don't restrict myself from having fun. How many Hennessy XOs you having? None. I have none at my house. Haha.
They are drinkers.
I am not really trouble. Want me to pick you up next time I go to the base? Usually cheaper and tax-free. Just a little based on your conduct. The base? Military base. I go through the Henny fast. I shop there a lot. I can as a veteran. My conduct? I'm not married. I'm the only one who does everything right. What kind of veteran? Where is the base? Dude, chillax. Teasing you. Are you serious? Veteran from Iraq. I can go to any base, but usually
Hanscom down in Bedford.
Hanscom in Bedford or down the Cape. Which base down the Cape? Which branch? Army. I'm not abnormally sensitive. Join base Cape Cod. I won't be so hard on you. Oh my God, you're not. You called me trouble. That makes me sound bad. I was just playing with you. You weren't, but that's okay. Stop being sensitive, please. I am not.
No, it's please.
Okay, so what's up? Did you figure out how many whiskeys? You mean tonight? Yes. Not sure. I am flexible and adaptable. Why are you so curious? Are you drinking? I haven't had a drink yet. Just want to see what you're up. Looking for an influencer. My day was long. Influenced? How? Are you in Canton or Mansfield tonight? Influenced to have a drink, even though it's Tuesday, in Mansfield. How often do you stay there? Is it a nice crib, house, or condo? I stay here once or twice a week. House. I guess it's nice. I like it. How long have you owned it? How many beds, rooms? 2017 or 18? 5 bedrooms. What? Why so big? I don't know.
Hoss long?
It's an old colonial. It has a lot of bedrooms. More than you clearly need. Are you moving to Canton? I know, seriously. Some rooms I only go into dust. Not anytime soon. I'm there for most of the time, but sometimes it's a lot. A lot, why? Do you even know what you want or who? Because I went from being solo to trying to give attention to kids who aren't mine. And I never wanted kids.
Ugh, it just sounds bad. She doesn't
I
want
thought
the
you
world
were
reading that.
in this happy relationship. Everyone is happy at Hillside. Oh, God. You avoid things. It's just a very, very complicated dynamic with the 4 of us. He isn't cut out for what he's doing, and the kids present constant issues. I think he believes he is doing the right thing. Well, of course he is, but his heart isn't in it. It's only because he was very, very close to his sister. I know how you feel, kinda. I was married, and when I met her, she had a 2.5-year-old.
Okay, y'all. The mattress is here. It's set up, and I'm obsessed.
I went from being single to being a dad. It's hard. I am divorced since 2017 and have no kids.
Calhounas, we could probably cut this. From this point forward, honestly, we're not getting into any more of the nitty gritty. But I think it's fascinating for a lot of reasons. Number one, it really hammers home just how much drinking is a culture for these people, right? Her wanting to know exactly how many cocktails he's going to throw back because she's judging whether or not this guy's going to be willing to go out and meet her, depending on how shit-faced he's going to be. Right. And she's talking about drinking on a Tuesday. She's talking about how fast she goes through bottles of Hennessy. He's talking about taking her out to a military base so that he can get the stuff for her cheap. Right. This is one of those things that no one should ever have to endure. Karen Reed is sitting in the courtroom reading this. Bob Clinton just found out he's got shit breath and the whole world thinks he's kind of a douche. You know what? I bet they don't dislike the guy. Honestly, people say things. They say things in conversation to sound funny or to sound clever, or maybe the guy occasionally's got bad breath, but it's not something you'd want the entire world to know that you were saying, right? It's really got to be tough, right, to have this thrown up for the world. And I know a little. Right, I've been through a little of that, and it's a shitty thing to endure. Megan, real quickly, how does one deal with the first Mother's Day without a mother? Thankfully, I don't know how to answer that because my mom, thank God, is still here. But I remember my first Father's Day without my dad, and honestly, everyone since then, right, have just sucked. There are things in life, right, that we just don't ever get over. Right. And when you lose a parent or you lose anybody that you love, that's not something you get over. And thank God. Right. I mean, seriously, we wouldn't want to get over that. It's not something that you should get over. It's life changing and it's life altering. So what you do is you come to grips with it, right? It's kind of like being an addict. You know, there's this demon that lives inside of us, right? And you're not going to kill it. It's never going to go away. You just kind of have to learn to be able to walk with it, right? And realize that you can control a great deal in life, right? You can't control the. I say this all the time on the boat, and it's a cliche that by now people want to kill me for saying, but 95% of our life, right, is how we react to the 5% of our life that we have zero control over. When people we love pass away, falls into that 5%. And it's out of our control, right? It's getting the shit kicked out of you while hanging from your hands. It's those moments where whatever is happening at that exact moment, you have absolutely no ability to control the outcome of the situation that you're in. It's not a possibility. So what we have to do is just get better at how we cope with these things. My recommendation to you, what I did for the first Father's Day without my dad was I wrote in my journal, and it started about 3 or 4 days before Father's Day, but I started to write all of the things that made him a better father than all of the fathers that you guys had. That's going to sound awful, but that's how I felt. I felt like my dad was better than any other dad that had ever lived, and I wanted to immortalize all of that while it was fairly fresh in my mind. And that's what I did the first Father's Day around, and it was a painful day. And I remember when midnight came around, and even worse, the first day he died. But when midnight came around and I hadn't put a needle in my arm, I felt like I can get through this. Right, my dad was the moose, by the way. Right, this is his shirt. But I thought if I can get through this, I can get through anything. Nothing that the world is going to throw my way is going to be tougher than this. And it's amazing these days because now on Father's Day, my brother Johnny and I will sit and talk about the old man, and it's usually funny. Like we tell stories of the better memories, and you get to the point, the longer you get away from the actual death event, the farther you get away from losing the person, the more you will remember the best and you will forget the rest. And there's something really fantastic about that. You know, there's a cliche for everything, but one of the best, right? Cliches are usually cliches, not because they don't make any sense, right? Cliches become cliches because they're such universal truths, right, that there's no getting away from them. And that's kind of how they develop into a cliche. And one of those cliches is that if you really love somebody, they're never gone. And that's the truth. I'm sorry, it is. My brother and I are relocating, and part of that process, my dad would have been all over this crap. So we talk about things that he comes more these days. Because we're further away, we're so much more comfortable that we bring him up a lot more than we used to. When we first brought him up, like when he first passed, you talk about your loved one, it hurts. It's not a pleasant experience. You know, you lose someone on Monday and you talk about him on Tuesday and Wednesday, and it's like every time you say anything, you hear it in people's voices. It's like your soul's getting pulled out. But the longer that time goes by, the more that when you speak of that person, it actually brings you joy instead of bringing you pain. And I know today it doesn't sound like that's possible. I promise. But it's a matter of continuing to journal and to do the things that are going to make you a better person. Thank you, Tommy. I'm 23 years pain pill free. My God, congratulations. My baby brother is now suffering from alcohol, and it's bad. I'm sorry to hear that. Man, look into naltrexone. They're really having so much success with people who are drinking, treating them with naltrexone, which technically is the active ingredient in Narcan, right? But they found that it turns off you know how I always talk about how an alcoholic drinks and the booze touches their lip, right? And the shakes go away. They instantly feel better. There's no chance that's possible. It takes 15 minutes, right, for the alcohol to seep through the stomach lining. Before you're really going to start feeling effects, it's going to be between like 9 to 15 minutes for the first effects should start coming in. How is it they instantly feel better? And the answer is the euphoric recall of the whole process. The second that stuff touches your lip, the malfunctioning reward center of the addict's brain sends so much feel-good chemical down that it's a fix of sorts. one that you created, right? But your brain sends you down. It's reinforcing the bad behavior. It's literally saying that drink is more important than everything else, including your kids, your job, your God, right? Everything, those you love. So what naltrexone does is it turns that off. You can still drink. It's not like an abuse where taking the substance is going to make you sick if you drink. You can still drink on naltrexone, and you're going to feel it. You're going to get a buzz. What you're not going to get is the malfunctioning reward center of your brain sending chemicals, feel-good chemicals, to reinforce that drinking is a good thing. And for many people that I've worked with one-on-one, once that feel-good chemical gets turned off, drinking isn't fun anymore. The actual poison that goes into your liver and does all that stuff, for the people that really struggle with alcohol abuse disorder, the chemical your brain is secreting, because that's how we function as addicts, right? It's the malfunctioning reward center of the brain. If that stops malfunctioning, it's amazing how much easier it is to remain sober. He's got to drink by 10 a.m. Yeah, and here's the thing, Megan, I'm glad that you brought this up. Megan says, yeah, I've seen the withdrawals. They're terrible. He has to drink by 10 a.m. If you're not hip to what she is saying, he has to drink by 10 a.m. What that means is if he does not, the delirium tremens, right, the DTs will start to come in. And these are frightening because you can die from acute alcohol withdrawal. Right? You can die if you get to a point where your body needs that so much. By the way, that also can happen with benzodiazepines, right? Your Valium, your Xanax, right? All of those things. So we really need to be careful if your substance of choice has a physical dependency to it, that if you choose to get sober, you need to do so with the assistance of a doctor, right? Never quit drinking or doing benzos without first talking to a doctor. If you say, I don't have insurance, I don't have any of that, we do not turn people away at emergency rooms in this country. There are people who will tell you that they do. I promise you they don't. If by some chance they do, write down which one, then go to the next one, and you can sue the one that turns you away, right? We don't. We take people in. We take people in those. Kristen Melinda is smarter than me, so you might want to listen to this. She says, PSA, please consult a doctor before making any changes to your medication regimen. Quitting alcohol or benzodiazepines too quickly can be fatal. In fact, it is the number one cause of, it's the number 2 cause of death in jails across the United States. Number 1 would be people who unalive themselves. And number 2 would be people who go in, and when they sit down with the nurse and the nurse says, do you drink? They go, no. Right? Or, how much do you drink? Oh, just every once in a while. They feel like if they tell the nurse the truth, they're going to be in some bigger form of trouble, right? They don't want to come clean that they're an addict. So they say, every once in a while or whatever. And by 10 a.m., very much like Megan's brother, usually by 10 or 11, the alcohol from the night before is wearing off and the body literally needs it. Literally. Like you're not going to get along without it, which is horrible. Megan says, the problem with my brother, in all honesty, this is his 10th, maybe more goes at treatment. He's 36. The good news is that he is still continuing to try. I got to tell you the truth, right? It took me a lot more than 10 tries. A lot. I didn't get it in the first 50, right? And I was a hell of a lot older than 46 when 36 when I finally got clean. I was a decade older than that when I finally got clean. So there's still hope. And I may be a cockeyed optimist or an idiot or whatever, but I get the question more than just about anything else. People will say, how can you tell when someone's too far gone? And my answer is usually if they're not breathing anymore, right? They're probably too far gone. If they're still taking air in their lungs and they're 85 years old, right, they can have the rest of their life, no matter how long that is, living a better existence, because being a slave to a chemical sucks, no matter how you look at it. It just does. So one of the other comments that was up there, and I said I would speak to it, was I don't remember who said it, sorry, but they said, I was a lot more confident in the first trial than the second. I'll tell you something, not me. Not me. This has been a master class so far. Alan Jackson and his defense team have been putting on a show. Just I don't think they can survive Jen McCabe. And when she left the stand, I thought it can't get any worse for them than that. And then Buchanan was on the stand today, and it was worse with him. The things that they have to admit, right? As cops, the things that they have to admit. There's going to be some really weird testimony concerning John's phone. It tracks when it moves, and we're going to hear some real weird stuff coming up. And Alan Jackson, to date, has delivered on the things that he said he was going to do in his opening statement. And one of the things that he was very clear about was, and I don't think he'd make this promise if he didn't think he could deliver on it, but he said, we're going to prove to you that he went in that house. We're going to prove to you that that John O'Keefe went in that house. If they can prove that he went in that house, then all of the cops involved are really going to be in some trouble because the problem with 12 to 13 people who all swear on a stack of Bibles that the guy never entered the house. If you find out the guy entered the house, then it's not a stretch to go, I wonder why they were lying. Maybe because they killed him, right? Maybe because they killed him. They make a big deal about how they didn't find any dog DNA on the arm. I don't believe shit about what happened to that man's arm. Who did the investigation, right? All of these dirty cops, right, were down there in the hospital standing around with his body on the table. They could have scrubbed them. They could have done anything. I mean, seeing how they handled evidence and everything else, I don't believe anything that's going to come out of that crime lab. I'm sorry, I don't. Why would I? Why would I? All the evidence bags are mismatched. There was absolutely no chain of custody. These bulletproof cops showed up on the lawn of someone's house where a guy is laying dead. There's apparently a broken glass, like a highball glass broken near him. This looks a lot like a fight. No damage to any part of his body except his face. This looks like a fist fight, like a textbook fist fight. Maybe you ought to go inside, see if maybe anybody inside knows what happened. But do you realize that investigation ended and they never once looked for any evidence inside that house? Funny, too. They sold the house. Well, of course they did. Hey, now they can't say, yeah, come on in. I mean, maybe the new owners can. I don't know how any of that crap works, but I'll tell you something. I'd like to see a little luminol in that basement, wouldn't you? Huh? I'd like to see see if it lights up down in that basement if you spray a little luminol around. See, they weren't going to let that happen. And for all of us who say, I don't know what happens, I appreciate that. That's a level of honesty that we're not seeing anymore. I dig that people have the ability to say, no, I don't know what happened. That's solid. I'll tell you what I do know. John O'Keefe didn't get killed by a car. No way in hell. I rode ambulance. I've had the misfortune of seeing people hit by cars. And nothing about what they said is real. I want someone to explain to me how someone's body is going to bust the plastic piece on the taillight and nothing else, right? And that impact managed to bust up his nose, his lips, black both eyes, and get the back of his head. It's the magic bullet. It's the magic automobile. And in the process of doing that, didn't break a bone, didn't damage him any other way. You get hit by a car. Now, granted, God protects drunks and little kids. Their bodies turn into rubber when they get hurt. I mean, I've seen some crazy crap happen with drunk people, but I don't believe for a hot second anything that comes out of this prosecutor's office. And let's be honest, neither did the federal government. It's amazing to me that they did not indict Trooper Proctor, but they fired him. And getting fired as a Massachusetts state cop is just a little bit more difficult than getting fired from the post office. Sorry, but that's the truth. They said they didn't have a legit reason to get a search warrant. You know what, Sammy? They might not have. But since everybody there are all cops and they're all friends and brothers, wouldn't you just go, hey, guys, we just want to take a look around the house just so that there's not a hint of impropriety. You guys are all cops. If we don't walk around in here, we don't want to try to get a search warrant or any of that shit. No, we just want to walk around and make sure that it doesn't look like anything weird happened out of place. You can see that, right, guys? These are all cops. The fact that none of those cops came running out on the lawn to start with CPR before they heard the screaming. Karen Reed, you can hear it. The 911 call is played, right? And you got Carrie yelling, "Shut the fuck up," at the top of her lungs. Oh, man, that was a show out there, man. And then you got lights flashing, first responders, cop cars, sound asleep upstairs, right? Miss me with that crap. No way in hell. Not if they are guilty, which I believe they are. And I agree with you, Sammy Sue. But since they didn't even ask that question, we're never going to know, right? And I'll tell you something. If you said, we just want to take a look inside, and they go, no, you ain't doing that without a search warrant. Now walk back to the judge and say, Your Honor, they said they're not going to let us step foot inside the house without a search warrant. I think that's a little weird. Sure, you got a right to say it. But now I bet you could get a judge to go, that's disturbing. These are all cops, right? And I'll tell you something else. You couldn't get a search warrant from who? Auntie Bev? Huh? I promise you, there's got to be a judge there that would have said, yeah, we'll let you get in there and take a look around. I mean, come on, that's obvious stuff. He left the bar with you to go to a party at your house. If you can't sell that to a judge, it's because she's crooked. Or maybe he, I don't know. Right? I'm not saying that Auntie Bev is crooked. She looks a lot less frightening when she smiles a little bit. When she smiles a lot, it's not a great look. But when she smiles a little, she looks a little bit more gentle. It's kind of the same thing with Jennifer McCabe. They instructed Jen to smile after every question, and she almost looked attractive. In the first trial, she looked like she was a character from Scooby-Doo. She's just downright frightening. Honestly, when she's looking ugly and mad, but when she smiles, what are you doing? Cat is a menace. There's really nothing in the world worse than a kitten that weighs 12 pounds. If you've never experienced that, don't. I promise. Can we talk about Dirty Diddy for a moment? Yeah, we can, Megan. So the Diddy trial does not start on Monday. I'm sure that everybody thinks it does, but it does not. And I'll tell you why. They did not actually, hey, Johnny, they did not actually impanel a jury. There was not enough, they didn't get enough people, so they're going to have to carry the voir dire process over to Monday. Now, if they could get the entire jury seated on Monday, I still don't think Subramanian would let them do opening statements. So we're probably going to see opening statements in the Diddy the Diddy trial on Tuesday. And I anticipate this to be less of a shit show than the world thinks it's going to be. I don't have a lot of hope for the defense. I really don't. As most of you know, the Cassie tapes are coming in, right? That's going to kill him. That's going to kill him. And I would imagine if I were prosecuting this, I would absolutely have his denial or his apology video, both. But first the denial where he said, I never put hands on that woman. I would juxtaposition that clip of him saying, I never put hands on her. That's all BS. And have that go directly into the Intercontinental beatdown, right? And then they have the ability, allegedly, they have the ability to show her getting beat inside the hotel room. That transition, if that's the only thing they could get him for, he's in deep trouble. Because Cassie's story is a story of human trafficking. You get that, right? This isn't just domestic violence. What she has said and what she has alleged is that she had to do these sexual freak-offs because if not, he would beat her. He's going to say, no, we're just swingers. Yeah, well, you did beat her. And allegedly, we're going to see her try to leave the freak-off. If that's really what we're going to see on that tape or they're going to see the jury, that means that everything she said up to that point is true. So for 10 years, you were flying her around the country, right, to have sex against her will. That's human trafficking, folks. Textbook human trafficking. Now, she's not the only witness, right? We know that there's other women that are going to say the same thing. I don't think there's a snowball in hell chance that Diddy's even going to be able to put on much of a defense, folks. We've heard a lot of really crazy crap, like they're going to try to plead insanity. You were insane, but you were able to build a $600 million empire. I suppose those two things can go hand in hand. But Well, the kind of insanity we'll be talking about is not the kind of insanity that keeps you from going to prison. You have to not know what you did was wrong. Everything that Diddy did to try to cover this stuff up, right? All of the allegedly threatening people after the rapes, or reaching out to people to pay people off, or to threaten people, or to do any of these things, shows culpability, right? It shows knowledge of what you did being wrong, which means you're not going to be able to say, I'm not guilty by reason of insanity. No, you're guilty as shit, right? You might be insane. Jeffrey Dahmer cooked and ate men's penises. If that's not insane, it'll do until insane shows up, right? But he was not found insane because when they looked at the totality of the case, he was hiding bodies. He had a way to dissolve them in acid so he could get rid of them. Why was he getting rid of them? Because he knew if he got caught doing that, he was going to go to prison. The only way to realize that is because you know what you're doing is wrong, right? Wrong. Yeah, the threat's sinking, B-Lady. What happens is you're talking about coercion, right? You can't, and there's a bunch of different ways. Coercion is not just, if you don't get in there and have sex with those 4 dudes, I'm going to beat the piss out of you. That's the exact same thing in the eyes of the court as, hey, babe, if you don't go in there and do that, I'm not going to keep paying your rent. I'm not going to keep giving you record deals. It doesn't matter whether you're threatening them or you're enticing them, with reward, or holding their livelihood over their head. All of these things, right? Take something and elevate it to where they're no longer consenting. There are people who are going to argue that point. I am not. I think that if the only reason that a woman is having sex with you is because if she doesn't, you're going to take her record contract away. That's a very fancy kind of rape, but that's all it is. Right? It is, in my humble opinion, and in the opinion of the federal government of the United States, that most assuredly is going to be, in their eyes, that's going to be human trafficking. And that, folks, is what he's charged with, among other things, the racketeering and all of that too. But, and look, it gets really hard with the racketeering thing, because it really does start to look like your whole company was just kind of in business to keep you doing what you were doing. Like you were using all your employees to set up the rooms, to get the dope, to fly it here. I mean, you really did have a little team put together so that you could just terrorize women sexually. It's kind of effed up. Arrogant of him not to take the plea deal. He's gambling with a guilty conscience. I'll tell you what, Megan, yes and no, right? Here's the thing. Diddy and I are the same age. And if I got yahooed into court, guilty or not, and they came and said, I got a deal for you on the table, and you take this deal and everything goes perfect, you could be out in about 25, right? 25 years? I'm going to be dead in 25 years, right? That's a life sentence if you're 55. So I think that for Diddy, the only thing that I could have seen that guy taking a plea deal to is if they could have got him a nickel, right? If they said, you plead to this and you get 5 years or you get 10, and on the 10, you got to bring us 8.5. I don't know that he would have done 8.5, but if he had gotten 5 and he would have had to bring about 47 months or something like that on that, he probably would have done that, I think, to avoid spending the rest of his life in prison. The sad thing is this, and I'm not saying that to be any different. I'm not, but I'm just saying, if this is a stand-up cat, and by the way, you could be a criminal and a stand-up cat. Those are not mutually exclusive. If this was a stand-up cat, he might look in the mirror and go, all I'm going to do is piss away every single penny that I got so that my kids don't have anything. We're going to lose the houses. We're going to lose all of it. So I could fall on the sword, plead guilty to this, and save my kids all of that money. Because right now, look, the money he's spending on his defense team, if he loses this case, you know what's going to happen with the lawsuits, man? Holy hell. Thought it was bad before. Once he's convicted on this, the lawsuits are going to come on out of the woodwork, and it's going to be ugly. Really, really ugly. Hold on. Who are we talking about? Are we talking about Diddy? Well, MCC Brooklyn is about the only hope they got for where to put him. because prior to that, the other option would have been MCC Manhattan. And MCC Manhattan got closed down, right? Or MDC, Municipal Detention Center in Manhattan, got shut down, the MDC, because Jeffrey Epstein died in there. And they shut it down almost immediately after that. Yeah, MDC Brooklyn. They're going to, they brought him to MDC Brooklyn because it's kind of the only option he's got for the Southern District of New York. That said, judges can do shit like that. They can do stuff to, like they could have put him in Fort Dix, which is actually a prison. It's a federal prison. But when Jared Lee Loughner, if you guys remember that name, you know what? Put a deuce in the chat if you remember that name. Rikers is a state facility, Annabelle. Rikers is a state facility for the 5 boroughs. It is not eligible for federal inmates. The government gets really dicey when you mix federal inmates and state inmates because we're considered as federal basically a more dangerous class of criminal. I don't know that there's any truth to it in the real world, but this is what they think. And if they don't separate us, and there's a kid in there for, let's say I'm in there for bank robbery or something like that, and you got a kid that's in there for minor in possession of an alcoholic beverage, theoretically, you could have both of us in the same facility. I stabbed that guy, and his parents are going to go, why the hell is a bank robber in there with my kid? So they tend to separate and keep federal people only in federal facilities. So MDC Brooklyn are all feds. And Rikers Island, where there might be 23,000 people there, they're all doing state crimes. They're not doing federal crimes. So it wouldn't have been a bank robbery or kidnapping or drugs over 2 tons. Once the state, once the feds pick up the crime, you're going to get plucked out of any of those state-run jails. Now, someone's going to send me an email and go, I got arrested and I went to a state jail. So did I. Because in Nevada, in Northern Nevada, there is no federal facility. If there isn't a federal facility, they'll send you to a state one. But the only way they will ever do that is if there isn't a federal option. For instance, Southern Nevada, they send you to Pahrump, which is a county jail for federal inmates. But they don't do that with. So I was at a facility in Nevada that had federal and state inmates. To keep us separate, all of the Fed guys get given jobs in the units so that they're lockdown units. So I worked in a unit where I was out all day long, right? I never got locked down, but every other jail cell was locked. And it was me and 3 other Fed inmates who just cleaned the place, swept up, did all of anything that needed to be done, feeding the inmates, doing all that stuff. We did all that. And that's how they kind of kept us separated. It's weird. So in some cases, the local jail contract out with the feds. So when I was in Northern Nevada, I was a federal inmate and I got into a fist fight. You get into a fist fight, you get charged with a 1 to 4. And I kept waiting for the charge to come in on me and it never came. And I said to my girl at the time, who was an attorney, I was like, babe, when are they going to charge me? And she's like, oh, they're not. If they charge you, you'll become a state. You'll override the Fed, basically. Now I have a state charge, and they'll be getting $90 a day from the federal government to keep me there. But if I'm a federal inmate, they're getting like $350 a day to keep me there. And that's, the food's so bad that $350 a day was probably feeding the 2,000 people that were there, right? Definitely the Fed inmates make them a lot of money. So it's all. Everything is a business. It's all a business. They don't know how to deal with it, man. Tommy, maybe a dumb question, but is Luigi's crime fed? No, it will not be on TV. Luigi's crime is federal and it will not be televised. No federal bench allows cameras in. So Luigi is a federal case. That's what he's also in the men's detention center in Brooklyn, MDC Brooklyn. Everybody in that building is a federal inmate. Yes, and they got rid of the dog. And Mousy, let's keep it real. They got rid of the dog that night. They can say they got rid of the dog whenever they wanted, but why wasn't the dog barking that morning? The dog should have been going apeshit, right? With all of that action on the front yard, and this is already a dog we know who doesn't do well with people. He doesn't acclimate well, right, to men. So that dog would have been losing his mind, especially when the door yanked open and Jen McCabe went running up. No, there was no dog in that house. They got rid of that dog before they got rid of John's body. Before they dumped him outside, that dog was gone. Believe it. And they say that the thing got rehomed to someone in Vermont. I'd kind of like to hear from that person in Vermont. I don't think that dog was alive longer than Mr. O'Keefe. I have a feeling that dog probably got shot somewhere. OJ's trial was murder, not federal. Correct. Why is Luigi's case federal? For a couple of reasons. Number one, he crossed a bunch of state lines in the process of doing this, right? And it has been determined to not be a normal murder. What he did is an assassination, right? He targeted somebody, and it's a whole commerce thing. Like he was going after somebody because of their position within the insurance game. But he had to travel, right? He started in Jersey. He crossed a crap load of state lines in the process of committing that crime. Yeah. They're all housed together in the fancy dorm type pod. There's nothing fancy about that that pod. All it really is one big giant room, and they will have the beds set up, the bunk beds, and they use lockers to basically make small rooms that guys sort of, so 4 beds kind of become a quad, but it's just a big ass like gymnasium size room with a bunch of beds in it. It's awful. There's nothing worse than dorm. There's no respect. It's loud as hell. If a guy wants to stay up all night talking to his friend, he's in the same cell as you for all intent and purpose. It's just a big ass room of people talking. It's terrible, man. Club Fed is certainly where it's at. Yeah, Club Fed in the state, you can have a lot of the state facilities still allow tobacco. None of the Fed facilities do. State facilities allow a television set in your cell. Can't buy a TV in the Feds. You can have magazines with pictures of nude women in it. And that may not sound like a big deal, but if you're doing life in prison, that's a pretty big deal. And those are not allowed in the Feds. You can have video games in the state joint. You can have iPads and all of these things that, although I hear the Feds may be bringing in iPads, but nothing else. I was told my whole criminal career, wait until you go to the Feds. It's so much better. You should be doing Fed crimes. And I did state rips, and then I went to the Feds, and I thought, boy, did I get lied to. And anybody that ever went to the Feds, they always joke every time you meet someone. Right? You'll be in the kitchen washing or whatever, and people will go, yeah, they said the Feds were easy. It's so much better in the Feds, right? Do Fed crime. Yeah, it sucks. It really does. All right, people, we made an hour and a half. Can you believe that? Huh? Can you believe that? That's just hard to believe, man. Yeah, the guns he had were no good, right? To be sure. He was carrying some pretty messed up stuff. Let me see here. We made an hour and a half, folks. We hadn't done that in a really long time. Tomorrow is Saturday. There wouldn't be any Karen Reed trial. I am going to be doing, I think, 2 shows tomorrow. There's a couple of different things I want to talk about. Thank you for coming and hanging out. The next 30 days are going to be wicked exciting around here, people. Keep stopping back in because we just have a lot of really cool crap that's about to happen. And you know what? You guys are coming with us. I'm going to take you on this journey, and I promise you it's going to be epic. But we're going to do a lot of really cool stuff. The second half of 25 and all of 26, we got some really cool stuff in store, folks. I'm back. All right, we'll see you tomorrow. Between now and then, reduce a little harm, right? And don't let anybody crap on you. All right, God bless everybody. We'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.